let's see this face here, okay? This is a face in darkness, okay? Which is what what you're all experiencing right now. When you focus too much on the illusory nature of the television and the doom scrolling, and you watch all the great stories that are interesting. Okay, let's put this into focus, okay? Unless you're in a void state, exact center of the CQ will, unless crap pointed at your fucking head, it's not your bloody business, okay? Other than that, if it's happening in your own hometown or village or whatever, it's not your bloody business. True story. So, with that type of idea, okay, you go and you say, okay, here's another accent from this one talking to you, huh? Which one is this? Turkish, Polish, Filipino, American? And this one Spanish. You don't know which country this one is from. They all come through and talk eventually, maybe, huh? Okay. Doma Asilia. Do you know which language that is? Mwah. That's Shesterava. Shesterava. Okay. If you out there know what language that is, please come back. Because this boy doesn't know. Okay. Shesterava. Doma Asilia. Okay. So, bravo. Okay. So anyway, if you fucking cool or stupido bastardos with your fucking goddamn goopy PS fucking stupido, okay? Well, cram it up your asses, so this is what fuck means, okay? You're gonna find it really funny. Look at the light side of life, okay? So, even though light's not spirit and whatever else, okay, you'll find that muskrat is probably double entendre because the word musk mean rat fart, okay? Because of the come on, do this one, okay? He's got anal glands on the rat, okay? And the stink is coming out of the anal glands and it makes musk smell, okay? So, you can see the trumpet trousers and the muskrats from the funny light. It was kind of predicted the military would do something on June 14 and he might be arraigned or shot. It did not happen. They chickened out, probably because they said Donald Trump's a taco. It's not a good move. The Mexicans kind of had to respond and that created that was a very brilliant move for the Democrats to support fascism in the USA. So you might want to change your sloganeering. Okay? Taco is not helping stop fascism in the USA. Okay? You might say trumpet trousers because he keeps blowing it out his ass. Okay? Right, so, trumpet trousers like Clive Palmer. He keeps blowing it out of his ass. Okay, see how got defeated in Australia, how Clive Palmer defeated it, okay? He said he wanted to be Donald Trump, okay? And he put a lion with a trumpet on his logo, and everyone went, okay, he's lying and he's blowing it out his ass, because Australians understand, okay, rudeness, okay? The kinds of political comedy you can get away with Australia, you cannot get away with in USA. Have you ever seen Friendly Geordies and the commentators on Friendly Geordies and lots of other places? They go with Australian politics. You can be rude, okay? Not so much racist or whatever, but okay? You can say filthy things like the leader of the opposition was Mr. Potato Head. And so the Potato Head got taken to the Smith's Tube Shop factory, and he got sliced and diced, and now his entire party was burnt to smithereens. So anyway, okay. So the wordplay type of stuff you can muck about with, okay. So while you're in the dark there, okay, and you're worried about things like World War III, let's talk about World War III, okay. We're living in the past right now, okay. We're not actually living in the past, but we'll say we're living in the past anyway, for argument's sake. So, what you're dealing with is you're dealing with the fear programs associated with World War I and World War II, and the obnoxious notion that Europe had, and some other places, but pretty much Europe had, that the entire world was at war because they were at war. Okay? So, take, for example, World War II. In World War II, okay, everyone knows about Hitler and Mussolini, right? Okay? And the Soviets and whatever else, okay? But what about the Pacific Front? Okay, in the Pacific Front, at the time, the Japanese had a crazy emperor, okay? They don't now, thankfully. Okay, at the time, they had one, though. And that crazy emperor, he was mucking up, when in trying to take over the Pacific and everything like that. The Philippines and Indonesia and Papua New Guinea all got affected. He even bombed Darwin at one point. And so the Aussies were fighting two fronts. The Australian army was fighting two fronts. They were both in the Somme and Normandy fighting off the Nazis, and they were also on the Pacific front fighting off the Japanese invaders. And also China got affected by that as well. And Australia was fighting in both places while America was sitting at home making money off the tanks they'd sold Hitler and waiting for their opportunity to look like heroes. Okay? So they could get their typewriters back from IBM that they'd already sold to the Nazi party. So when America waited until 2 days after the declaration of peace to bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Australia was sitting back going, well, okay, the Japanese sub's gone from Sydney Harbour. Thank you to the Fuzzy Wuzzies, as they called the Papua New Guineans at the time. That was really nice of you. And by the way, total troopers you guys were on your Papua New Guinea. And so there's a bit of a complex history there about the Papua New Guinea independence movement, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I won't get into that right now. The point being is that the military base that the Yanks put in the Philippines was taken away after the Marcos dictatorship was taken away. Okay? And they had a female president go into the Philippines about 1986 or 1987 after the revolution that they had there to overthrow the Marcos dictatorship. And the Americans had supported the Marcos dictatorship, but once the Philippines overthrew it and got rid of the military base, the Yanks went, a bit of curry favor here, and they held a court case shown in their courts that Marcos dictatorship had ripped off Philippines for $15 billion, to which has not been paid back. And now Marcos Jr., who was part of the Marcos Sr. Dictatorship, is now president. Why Philippines? Why? We don't understand. Anyway, so based on that information, we don't comprehend. So there's a few things that are different from the 1940s, okay? So when people make these comparisons between the 1940s and the present tense doom-scrolling circumstances, you can rest assured there's a lot of differences. First of all, the turnout at Trump's military parade was apparently unimpressive. And the turnout at the No Kings protest was massive. So, yay, USA. You did well this time. Okay. The other thing too is that Japan does not have a crazy emperor. Okay. Japan's a fairly neutral country most of the time, and other than making horrible cartoons that completely pollute the minds of young men, like hentai, and manga, but mostly hentai, and don't ask how Canoe knows, except to say that they've known people who've known what hentai was. They don't want to know. The point is, other than cartoons that pollute people's minds and some rather strange ideas about binding feet or something, or was that the Chinese? Japan is mostly neutral country, okay? Their motor cars are usually okay. Their people are often friendly and considerate and polite, and no crazy emperors. So you don't have to worry about Japan. If anything, we'll restate any apologies that are owed to them. Australia never bombed Japan and never would. Arigato for sushi. It's bloody delicious. And dojo yoroshiku. Dojo yoroshiku. Ohayo gozaimasu. Arigato. Okay. So arigato, but not for hentai, for sushi. Anyway, you're not going to get any arigatos for hentai, but you will for bloody sushi. Anyway, sushi, plenty of arigato. Okay, so they're completely different, okay? I think one of the things you'll notice is that Europe isn't necessarily at war at the moment. There has been a scuffle between the Ukraine and Russia. And what's fucking new? They've done it 1,000 times. Like, it's not bloody new. They've been having fights going back 1,000 years. Like, whoop-de-doo-dah. It's not new. Okay, Israel and Iran just had a fight. They've done that before too. Israel and Palestine had one. They've done it before too. Okay, over the last 80 years of history, this is not new. Okay, they will put their swords down and their weapons down and ballistic missiles down pretty soon, probably within a couple of months. Okay, and then they'll go home and go, they're better than the other one. And then some smart ass imam will come out and go, oh, well, you know what? Okay. Are you actually doing that because of you're against Judaism or Israel? And I'll say, no, you cannot, because on the first page of Quran it says that Jews and Christians are people of the book. So you probably shouldn't ignore that surah. Because that's actually in Quran. Okay, right? Okay, so that's not why. Okay. I just go around and say, oh, well, actually, what an Ark of Covenant has 10 commandments, and once he'll say, oh, thou shalt not kill, or bear false witness. Oh, okay, they shouldn't be doing that either. Christians turn around and say, oh, but we need to have the end of days, the apocalypse, and the Messiah is coming soon. Everyone will say, shut up. Okay? And then they'll also turn around and say, such it's actually Ragnarok, and everyone will go, well, you're in trouble then. Okay? So, with that sort of thing, you probably need to take into consideration that the Christian nationalists really are the fucking problem, not Christians more generally, the ones that are into that hardcore apocalyptic fucking shit. So what's happened with the MAGA preppers in the USA is that they weren't actually fascists. They were more like ANCOM that were survivalists a while back. I remember, over the course of time, movements have gotten confused and mixed because the rhetoric's got confused and mixed. Trump and his associates have picked up on that with the Proud Boys and whatever else. Next thing you know, the preppers are voting for fascists, which, by the way, is not their fucking cut of the mustard, because they are typically anti-authoritarian characters who like to live in bunkers. And chances are they're probably looking forward to that stuff because of their apocalyptic Christian worldview. So in that respect, they're the problem. And so with that in mind, you need to understand whatever mind is, that's a minority position, not a majority position. Okay, a majority position is that it's all made up. Okay, even when it's all real, it's all made up. Okay, people are starting to appreciate the illusory nature of minds and projections and stuff like that. A lot of things are projections coming from people's social conditioning and programming, as well as the opera conditioning, that the media has been, and the fourth estate more generally, has been involved in some kind of enculturation of life. The Musk Brigade with their fake fan zones and their IO videos about, oh, he's looking for a wife. Now he's looking for a wife, is he? Really? Okay, whatever, okay? He's already had one and he screwed that up. And then he's had a whole bunch more. He's turned into freaking Barbie dolls that he's got it locked up in his Mattel fucking houses that, like action figurines, because he thinks he's playing fucking World of Warcraft or some crap. Oh, no, not World of Warcraft. What's that game? What's the tabletop version? That's not World of Warcraft. It was back in the day. Oh, some game from a long time ago. It wasn't D&D though. Anyway, so Warhammer 3000, and so they're all like Warhammer 3000 figurines, like the female Nordic ones with the big titties, and so he's got them all locked up in cupboards, like playing mumsy, It's like, they're too good for the spotlight unless they're talking about, she had sex with Elon. It's like, what would you brag about that for? It's like, why would you brag about having sex with a guy who is quite literally LARPing as the shittiest comic book character ever, Tony Stark? Okay, he thinks he's a living meme, right, in a computer game, but the meme he's been playing is Tony Stark. Chances are he got jealous of Storm and fucked something up, okay? So with that, Storm's superpowers will probably destroy him and his entire career and possibly bankrupt him. And Tesla is going to sue him for damages, and you don't have to worry about it. Anyway, so what's the power of a storm? The power of a storm is the collective. Oh, geez, we're in trouble. Okay, and so what also the purpose of storm, other than wreaking destruction and havoc across the valleys and rivers and whatever else, the coastlines, is also a cleanup operation, because from that destruction you get not necessarily a renewal so much as a revisiting of, why did you build there in the first place? Like, why did you build your house in a fault line? Why did you build your house next to a volcano? Why did you build your house, like your village, in a fire zone? Why did you build like your house in the Alps that are prone to having landslides? Why have you built your villages and your houses like in like a frozen wasteland? Okay, these are not things that I can do. Why do you build your houses on islands that are sinking due to climate change? Like, maybe you should rethink your housing structures or whatever else. Or just go to Mars and terraform it and make it look like the way you want to. That part's not going to happen though, because yeah. Anyway, there's not going to be World War III, okay? There has been set up on the well, not really set up so much as reactions through the 48-dimensional Tesseract system with its chessboards and its cubes and whatever. There's been the fears, and the consequence was all the kings and the queens and the bishops and the horses and the castles got taken down and the pawns won on every single chessboard, okay? So that doesn't mean there's going to be a war, okay? What that means is that we are in a situation of mutually assisted development through the threats of mutually assured destruction. So while people like Tulsi Gabbard are saying that we're at risk of nuclear holocaust, everyone's going to go, oh, as if, you stupid bitch, because people don't want that. So keep pushing for the peace agenda. Okay, keep responding to that fascist violence of doom scrolling, fear-based mind control tactics, wherever it's come from, whether it's Republican or Democrat, with some kind of reasoned response. Okay, because at the end of the day, you already know the truth. They're both full of shit.